Hello, welcome or welcome back. I'm Natalie and this is my channel knitalee where I talk about all of my creative endeavors. I'm currently hyperfixated on knitting, but I also dabble in other crafts here and there. And I was realizing that it's been like over 2 months since my last podcast, which isn't ideal because I have a lot of stuff to share, and I would have had a lot of stuff if I filmed the podcast in between these podcasts, but that's okay. More for you to hear and listen to. So, the con with that though is I might not be able to go as in depth on each individual thing because I have a whole bunch of finished objects. I have a bunch of whips as well, and yeah, if I leave anything out, feel free to ask me a question. I don't know. I don't think it really matters if I talk about like gauge and whatever, just like the key highlights. So I think with that, we're just going to jump right into it. Let's first start with what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my thick striped Olga sweater. I followed the Olga sweater pattern, but I did thick stripes. And this I knit in Kombajn Snufnug. I think I talked about it in my last podcast, so check it out if you want more info on this. But I love it. It's absolutely perfect, and I feel like I wear it a lot, so that's that. So the normal podcast format is like finished objects, whips, acquisitions. I think I might tweak that a little bit for this episode. So if you don't really like that format, sorry. This just is going to make more sense, I think. So I'm going to talk about different categories of things because I have some finished objects in different categories. And I think that I'll group them together because then there's like the same kind of topic together. So like socks, hats, Legume tote bag, and sweaters. And then we'll talk about some like yarn acquisitions and other acquisitions. I think that'll make more sense today. So let's just jump right into it. We'll start with some finished objects, finished socks. So I have 2 pairs of socks that I finished recently. Well, these are, I feel like, a while ago. But I have these guys. These are self-drafted colorwork socks. I knit these with Jawoll in a gray, a navy, this like greeny, yellow, goldy color, and brown. And I found this colorwork chart on Pinterest. So I just kind of adapted the chart to be a sock. I think that I cast it on like 52 stitches because that was like the closest to what my normal preferred sock count is that works with this like repeat. I can't quite remember, but it's these little like window like this, yeah, it's just kind of like looks like little windows to me. I think that these are kind of a play on like an argyle for me, so I just kind of wanted to have some more fun with like colorwork socks. I also tested out some new things for this, so I did a provisional cast on for the top because I wanted to do a ruffle. And the way that I like to do ruffles is doing knit front and back to increase it. So I basically did a provisional cast on, did rib, did the color work. I also did an afterthought heel and then a normal toe. And then I picked back the provisional stitches cast on and did knit front and back for a round. I think I did another round of just normal stockinette, and then I did another round of knit front and back, and then another round of just stockinette. So it created this cute little ruffle. That's just my way of doing ruffles. I know that the other way is to cast on like 4 times the amount of stitches that you want for your sock and do decreases. I just feel like that just feels like a lot on your needles, and I'd rather do the increase. The con is you then have to cast it off, but that's just what I like to do. Yeah, I'm really happy with these. I don't wear these as much as I would like to. I think busy socks I have a hard time styling. I did wear these to a play that my friend was in a few months ago with these like brown almost Mary Jane like shoes, and I thought that these looked really cute with those shoes. Although those shoes, I need to wear thinner socks with them because they're on the smaller end of my like foot size range. So my feet were like felt really cramped wearing these socks in there, which is a shame. But I'm sure I have other shoes that I could wear these with. I just kind of forget that I have them. But I really like these. I really like the color combo too. It just feels like an odd pairing. And yeah. The other thing with these is it was the first time that I tried using double pointed needles. So I used a 2.25 or 2.5 double needle set that I got when I was in Dallas a few months ago. And this was kind of like the first learning experience of how to use double pointed needles. And I didn't hate it, to be honest. And that's my preferred way to do it for the heels and the toes of socks. I wouldn't ever want to cast on double pointed needles, but I think for especially the toe, it just makes it a lot easier to like taper down. So I think I could see myself getting more sets of double pointed needles, especially for like sleeve cuffs and stuff. The thing that's just like frustrating is you have to get them in every single size. So we'll see if I end up doing that in the future, but I don't mind them, to be honest. And then, yeah, for this sock, it was the first time that I was trying an afterthought heel. Or I guess it was a forethought heel, technically, because I did the whole scrap yarn situation. And honestly, I did these so long ago that I can't quite remember how to do it. And if I were to do another afterthought or forethought heel, I'd have to look up how to do it. So I don't know if I'm like the best expert for explaining it, but it worked out fine. The heel isn't the best fit, I don't think. I still think that the heel flap and gusset is the best fit for me. But I just kind of wanted to try some new methods just in case. So this was the forethought heel method. And the other sock that I finished is these guys. And I will not be apologizing for the state of these. I hope you know me by now that like I'm gonna wear something when I finish it, and it's gonna look like a sock that has been worn because that's the point of knitting, is to wear your things. So this is a marled sock. I mentioned in my like fall, like planning my fall knits, that I was kind of interested in exploring marling. So I wanted to do a marled sock. I've done a few marled socks at this point, and I think I really enjoy them because it's a little bit more interesting, and you're holding two yarns together, so it's more of a DK weight sock, which honestly I think I prefer wearing my DK weight socks and my sport weight socks over the fingering weight socks that I've knit. They just feel like a little bit more substantial, and especially like in these seasons, like I want like a normal warm kind of sock on. So this one I also knit with Jawoll because I just bought a bunch of colors. I think I shared last episode, and to like play around with socks. And so I have this in the navy color, and then the lighter blue color in this is actually the Explorer Knits and Fibers linen sock base that I got when I went to Flock. And I can't remember this color name, but I'll put it on the screen if I find it. And that sock base is non-superwash, so I think that these are going to have to be a hand wash sock for me, which is probably why that they're in this state. I also did a rolled edge on this and a 2x2 rib down the side. This one I did a shadow wrap heel, and I also did a shadow wrap heel on the socks that I have as a whip. And I think that this heel is the cleanest looking heel. I think it looks the most like a store-bought heel. And it's honestly really enjoyable to do. It feels like it makes sense because you're decreasing down and then increasing up again, and you don't have to worry about the gusset part because you just do the heel once, which actually helps, because I feel like I've been having an issue with my heel flap and gusset socks where the top of the foot, I don't know what that's called, not like instep or something, maybe it is, but like between, I'm wearing smart wool socks today, but this part of my foot on the sock, that always feels really loose. And I think part of it is maybe because of the gusset, because there's more stitches there than there would be on like this style of heel. So I'm playing around with this heel again on my whip sock, so I'm just playing around with it. And then I did a contrast toe for this as well, so I did more of a burgundy maroon color, and then I just continued that Explore Knit and Fibers linen sock up to the toe as well. So there's like a shift in the marling. And I love these socks. These are socks that I modeled after my favorite store-bought socks, which are the LL Bean wool socks. And probably knit something very similar to this again. It just is a pretty classic sock for me. So that is those. And then my sock whip right now is this, which is the Camp Waffle sock by Hannah Park, or Hannah in Analog on social media. And I really enjoyed doing these. This I knit in Polka Dot Sheep Yarns Ski Town Sport, which is a yarn that I've used before for socks that match my Zakuri cardigan. And I think as of now, my opinions may change in the future, but I don't know if they will, honestly. As of now, I think this is my favorite sock yarn. I love a sport weight sock, like I mentioned. I think that they just knit up faster. They feel a little bit more substantial than a fingering weight sock. I can get my tension more accurate than on fingering weight. Because fingering weight, sometimes even a US 0 is still a little bit gappy, which I had an issue with because I casted on a sock in fingering weight recently to try to do this sock, and it just was, there's too much, I feel like the right word that I want to say is it's too airy. There's too many holes and gaps in it versus a sport weight sock. It just is so nice and feels good, and it'll be warm on my feet. I also have found that after washing my other socks in this yarn, they get a little bit more fuzzy and they feel a little bit more they're just really soft and nice socks, and can throw them in the wash. So this green color is called Olive Oil, and then the toe are actually Patton's Croy socks, and I think the color is Muslin. I just wanted a creamy, heavier fingering weight or sport weight yarn, because the other sock yarn that I got in cream, I think my last podcast episode I shared, I got the Cowborn Woolens Perennial in a creamy color, and that's the one that I had issues with it just being too thin. So I think with that yarn I might marl it with something else to meet gauge. But yeah, this is just a simple waffle sock. It has a 2x2 cuff and then waffle stitch. It has I think the same heel. It's shadow wrap heel, I think. And then you do the waffle on just the top of the foot, and then you decrease for the toe. And I did this sock in the combination knitting that I've been doing for all of my ribbing lately, and I did that even for the waffle stitches, which are actually really nice because waffle stitch is I guess a 4-row repeat where you knit 2 rows and then you do 2x2 rib basically for 2 rows. And with combination knitting is actually really helpful to remember if I was on the first round of the waffle stitch or the second round, because for combination knitting, you have to knit through the back loop because you twist your stitches. And so it was really easy to remember where I was. The only thing I did notice is that I do have a row here where I did 3 knit rows instead of switching to the knit and purl row of waffle stitch, which doesn't really bother me. Like, no one's gonna notice. But yeah, I am really happy with this, and I started the second one. I am a big proponent of when you finish casting off the first sock, immediately cast on the second sock, like in the same sit down session, so that you could like already have it going rather like than remembering your stitch counts and remembering like whatever. So I did that immediately, and then I was gonna knit more on this, but I'm going to the West Seattle knitting hangout thing, hosted by Sophia Knits Things on Instagram later today, and I wanted to have something to knit there, so I stopped knitting on this so I could knit a sock out and about. But yeah, I love this color. I got 4 different colors of this yarn. I'll share in the acquisitions later, but they were having a Black Friday sale, so I just went for it. That's the sock. So those are all my socks. I think the next thing will be this fingerless glove whip, because it feels, feet and hands are kind of similar. So I started this fingerless glove. I don't have the second one going. I was referencing the Tabi Gloves pattern for this, and basically I cast on for that specifically, and then was just kind of unsure if I wanted a Tabi glove or not. I think it's like this for a Tabi glove. And then I ultimately decided that I just wanted a fingerless mitten. But I just changed kind of a lot of it. So I mostly just referenced how to do a mitten, since this is the first mitten that I've ever done. And then did my own thing for the like cuff and the length, and like followed the instructions for the thumb. So with this I knit in knitting for olive merino in the color brown bear, and I held it double. That's like the base dark brown color. And then I just have a mix of Lang Jawoll's colors in here. I think this is like a lace weight alpaca yarn, and this is a secondhand like light blue yarn. And I knit them with a ribbed cuff on the top so that I could fold it over the top of my fingers if I needed to. This is what it looks like on. I knitted a little bit longer of like a sleeve as well. And then yeah, you could fold it up if you want to add like a little bit more warmth. But yeah, I didn't knit the second one because I kind of got like a fingerless glove ick. I talked about this in my like ideas video. But something about fingerless gloves like gives me the ick, and I don't really know how to describe it. There's just something about the vibe of a fingerless glove. Although it's very practical, and like I initially wanted to knit a fingerless glove because I take Elmer out for walks, and I have to deal with the poop bags and giving him treats and stuff, and it just makes sense to have access to my fingers. But I think that I might frog this and knit a mitten instead, and just deal with taking my mitten off if I need to, and then put my mitten back on while I'm out on a walk, because I just prefer that, I think, than this. And I don't know, let me know how you feel about the stripes on this, because I feel like it is kind of fun, and maybe they aren't that terrible. Like maybe I could just knit the second one, but I don't know. It's not like calling to me to work on like other things are right now. So that's a glove. Okay, let's move on to hats. So I have some finished hats and a whip hat. The first finished hat is this which is the Kombajn Snood, I think that's how you pronounce it, by Ratandseawitch. And I did a test knit for this, which was really fun. This is my first test knit, and yeah, I really enjoyed the process of it. I really liked the like knitting it along with a bunch of people. It actually was funny because another person that got selected for the test knit was somebody that I met at like a craft meetup in Seattle, and have been becoming friends with her. So hi, I don't know if you're watching this, but anyway, this is knit in Sandnes Garn Koss. I think it's the recommended yarn in the pattern, and it's just this like light gray color. And then the fun thing about this pattern is it's a beanie, but you can also convert it into a cowl. So this is what it looks like as a cowl. So you can have it around your neck for warmth. And then if you want it to be a beanie, you just cinch it back up with the paracord. And I am really into paracords as like a little touch on things. I think two of my most common bags that I've used recently have paracords on them. I have like a vision of designing or self-drafting a paracord sweater that has like a hem where there's a channel for a paracord so you can cinch up the bottom, which might be on the future plans. We'll see, but I just think it's a really fun like vibe. I'm not somebody that like typically would wear a cowl, so I mostly wear this as a little beanie, and I just think that this is a cute little like detail on it. This paracord and this paracord stopper I got from a website called Paracord Planet, which I definitely will probably order some things from in the future if I continue down this like paracord obsession because they have so many cool colors of paracord. I don't know what else people use paracord for, but if you're on the market for paracord, check them out because there's so many cool colors. It was like really hard to pick this one, but I really like this green and orange combo. And then I just have a little jump ring on the end of this so that my like stopper doesn't slide off, but it kind of feels like it has a little piece of jewelry on it, so kind of cool. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this. It's just like a 3x1 rib tube, and then there's instructions for how to do a channel that I think is a Kitchener stitch channel at the top, which I'll probably be referencing if I self-draft a sweater. Other thing for this, if you decide to knit one of these, I highly recommend what I did was when you're Kitchener stitching the channel together, you're supposed to Kitchener stitch the channel together and then thread your paracord through the seamed channel. And what I did instead of threading it through, because I was worried that my paracord was thicker maybe than what was recommended in the pattern, is I just did the Kitchener stitch around the paracord. So I had the paracord kind of in place and like Kitchener stitch seamed it together. And that was really easy because it would like reduce the step of like threading the paracord through. So if you knit one of these, I'd recommend doing that. But yeah, Ratandseawitch is like a fantastic pattern designer, and there's really cool visuals, and it's a very beginner friendly pattern. So highly recommend. So that's that one. And then this beanie, which is one of my most recent finished objects, is a 2x2 rib beanie. I followed a pattern that's called 2x2. It's called 2x2 by Anna Gagnon, I think. It's just a free pattern that I found on Ravelry. I spent a long time on Ravelry looking at beanie patterns. I haven't really knit very many beanies in my life, which feels like kind of the first thing that you knit when you're like a new knitter, but I just haven't because I have just like an extensive collection of beanies in like a bunch of colors that I didn't feel like I needed to knit any more beanies, but I feel like I probably will because it's just nice to have a hand knit beanie as a little accessory. But yeah, I spent a lot of time looking for a pattern that had crown decreases that looked nice, And I really liked this one because it like flows nicely from the 2x2 ribbing, and there's like 4 points of decreases. And I like the shape that it gives the top of the beanie too. It's funny because it's not necessarily my ideal like beanie. I really like a small, like tight, rounded beanie, but I've been more recently into this slightly pointed top part. So I really like this one. It was funny because the same day that I knit this and finished it, my boyfriend came over and we were going through like, what we were like window shopping for Black Friday. Not that either of us really got anything, but it's just kind of fun to like look at what the sales are and like imagine if you had like X amount of money to spend, like what you would get. And I think that's just like a fun activity in general, and maybe just like satisfies that craving of buying things without actually spending the money. But anyways, he was looking at a beanie that was pretty much a 2x2 ribbed orange beanie, like this shade of orange. And I was like, I literally just knit this. And so I think that we're going to share this. I think I'm mostly going to give it to him because I haven't really knit anything for him. We won't talk about the socks that are a whip for him, that have been a whip forever, but yeah, it looks also really good on him too. So I'm really happy with this. He likes like a taller, longer beanie, and I like a shorter beanie, and this is like kind of right in between our preferences, which is perfect for a shared little beanie. So yeah, I haven't woven in the ends yet, but I think if I were to knit this again, I may decrease the stitch count a little bit because it is slightly loose. I've also realized that A, I have a small head, and B, I like things like secure and tight, both like on my feet, my hands, and my head. So yeah, I would knit this again though. So that's this. Oh, the yarn that I used for this is the Ritual Dyes Elder, which is a worsted weight yarn in the color Jewel Weed. It's a yarn that I picked up when I went to Sacred Sheep, which I haven't even brought up at all. So yeah, I went to Sacred Sheep, which is the yarn festival in Portland, a few weeks back, and I went with my boyfriend and met a few people there too. So it was a lot of fun. I met Stitch by Cleo. I met Stitching Stone on Instagram. Both great people, and it just felt really natural to like hang out with them in person. So hi, if you're watching. And it was way less overwhelming than Flock was. So if you like are considering going in the future and feel like you're going to be overwhelmed, I'd recommend Sacred Sheep. It was nice. We had a little Portland weekend too, which I did start a vlog for. Like I filmed little clips on a new like retro-y camcorder that I got recently, but I haven't gotten like the DVD to USB-C converter yet. I'm waiting for my order to arrive for it. So I don't know if I'll end up putting a vlog out for that. Let me know. It's just kind of like in the past, but I feel like it would be cute because it's like vintage camcorder style vlog. So we'll see. But I got this yarn there, and I'll talk about the other yarn as it comes up. But that's this beanie. And the next two beanies are the City Hiker beanie by Milena Pauliina. I think that's how you say it. And it's a really cool top down beanie with, I think it's a bulky weight or super bulky weight. And you have a double knit band, and then there's little ear flaps on it. So I knit this one in Blue Sky Fibers Woolstock Tweed in the color Prairie Sky, and I held it with this like spool mohair that I've had forever. I don't know the brand or anything, but it's like mohair that's on a little spool. I don't know if it's even real mohair or not, but I held those together because I couldn't quite meet gauge with the Aran weight yarn. So that's that. And then I haven't shown this, I think, like anywhere. Like I haven't posted on Instagram or anything. Maybe like a whip photo, but I just am not super duper happy with it. I think part of it is this one I didn't follow the instructions. I thought that I was like, you know, could outsmart a wonderful pattern designer by like making it shorter so that it's more of like the beanie style that I like. And in doing so, it just like doesn't fit right. And then the other piece of the pattern that kind of bothers me is here, I'll put it on. I don't really care if like my hair gets messed up or anything. So you can see this like brim here should be taller, and I think that would look a lot better. And the other thing that bothers me is after you're done like increasing, like because you start at the top, after you're done increasing, you switch to a few rows of reverse stockinette before you do a double knit band. And I really don't like that you can see this like little ridge here of the reverse stockinette, which is basically just like you purl a few rows. It just feels like kind of bumpy, and I understand why that's in the pattern because otherwise you would see purl bumps there. But it just, I don't love the way that that looks, and maybe it's something that I didn't do or something. But and then you can see these ear flaps are like, because I didn't knit this, I didn't knit the like beanie long enough, and then I didn't knit the brim long enough. These ear flaps like don't really even cover my ears unless I like really pull and tie this together. But so I think I'm gonna frog this, but I was waiting to share with you all to see if you guys had any thoughts on like how to do this or tweak it to be right for me, or if you've knit one of these. I did knit or cast on another one, so I'm considering this a whip, but this is another city hiker beanie. This is in Brooklyn Tweed Arbor Lodge in the color Pollen. I got this on sale at Acorn Street yarn shop, because I think Brooklyn Tweed is out of business or something. But I fell in love with this color, and I felt like it would just be such a fun little like beanie pop of color. And this one I did follow the lengths right, except I omitted the reverse stockinette rows for those 3 rounds. So let me try it on. So this should be seamed together, but I haven't done that yet. So this should be seamed together, and then this brim feels a little bit right, like it, I followed the instructions, so of course it looks better. But then I didn't do those 3 rows of reverse stockinette, and I think that I like this better because you don't have the like bump. You just have like the transition from stockinette to double knit as like this fold edge, but it's still not like my favorite. So I'm not entirely sure what to do about this. I also was running out of yarn of this Arbor Lodge pollen color, and so I switched to this lighter green yarn to do the bind off on the top, and I don't know if I really like that either. So I just feel like these are just kind of flops, but I want this to work. So I think I might just frog this and maybe knit a 2x2 beanie with this yarn instead. So unless you guys have ideas, but I'm a little bit stumped on this, which is a bummer because I really like the idea of the ear flops, because I like a beanie that doesn't cover my ears. So if I need something to cover my ears, who knows? But that's this one. Okay, and then the other like hat like thing that I have to share is this, which if you are like active on Instagram or YouTube, I'm sure you know Paula Avers, who has been working on the Scoody pattern for a while, so it was just released yesterday, and I cast it on with some yarn that I had in my stash, like immediately. This is actually the third version they cast it on, so it will be a little like thing with a scarf. I'm gonna knit the medium length, I believe, so that should have a scarf long enough to like tie around and knot in the back. And I'm knitting mine in, this is leftover polka dot sheep yarn. I don't know if maybe it's Whitefish worsted in this brown color. I can't quite remember. And then this is Plymouth baby alpaca worsted in like this rust color that I've had in my stash for a long time because I knit the Northern Augustines #1 in with this yarn. And so I'm doing little 2-row stripe repeats. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. So that's the SWIP. I think next, let's talk about the Legume Totes. I know that I have a vlog of my first one, and in my last video I mentioned that I was doing a call for testers, but if this is your first video of mine that you've seen, then you may not know, but I am writing, or I guess it's in testing right now, but I have a pattern in the works for a little LL Bean boat and tote inspired felted tote pattern. So I'm really, really excited about this. I feel like it's receiving a lot of love online, and I actually been wearing mine a lot. And so I just kind of wanted to bring you through like the journey for a minute on the Legume Tote, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of them right here. 6, but 2 of them are really small. So first we can talk about the first prototype of this. This is the one that was in my vlog. So I used Cascade 220 Grande in this cream color and this green color, which is called Shire. I think the cream is called Natural. And if you haven't watched that vlog, I recommend, because it's a journey on like figuring out how to do things and like trial and error and lots of error. And even then, there's things that I changed. I've changed every version. There's something that I feel like I want to change because I want this pattern to be like really usable for people and wearable and like comfortable to like wear and like, all of those things. But it's basically a rectangle that you knit, and then you pick up stitches all the way around. You switch contrast colors partway up and continue knitting. And then you pick up stitches for the straps, do the straps, and then seam with the pocket. And this one actually has 2 pockets on the inside as well, on the sides here, which is really nice. I have a scrunchie in this one. And yeah, this one, there's things that were wrong with this one. One is you can see that it doesn't really hold its shape, like the structure of it. It's pretty like wiggly and wonky, and then the straps are different lengths, so I like am using stitch markers to shorten the length of this strap, and then the straps themselves are like pretty skinny and rolly, so there's some things that I needed to tweak for this one. So the next one that I made was this one. This one, you can see the shape is a lot better. It holds its shape a lot better. This one I end up figuring out a cool detail on the side here that shapes it a little bit more, so it tapers in towards the top. And this one has the pocket on the outside, and then the inside I also did a pocket just on the green level that I seamed in the middle too. So it's kind of like one big pocket that has 3 sections, but it's really low. Like you can see, like the pocket's only as high as this green section, so it's like barely a pocket, but it actually does work for like sorting wallet and keys and stuff, so they're not just floating around in a big bag. And then These I also did I-cord edges on the straps, which helps them not stretch out, but they still roll a little bit. So I fixed that in the next version. This one I also miscalculated how the ratio for the height between the base color and then the bag color. I still really like this one, but I changed it in the final pattern to be a little bit lower. So that's this one. And then the next one I did was this one, which is a gift for my best friend. She lives in Vermont, so I'm going to send this to her, but she picked out the colors for this one, so brown and purple and green are like her favorite colors, and so this is the medium-sized or the pinto-sized one, so I calling it the Legume Tote after like my little bean. Beans are legumes, and then there's 3 sizes to the bag. There's this one, which is called the garbanzo-sized one. This one is called the pinto size, and then there's a little keychain one, which I'll show you in a second, that's called the lentil sized. But this is the pinto sized. And this one is one where I like completely perfected the straps, I think. So the straps have that I-cord edge, so they don't stretch out, and they lay a lot flatter than both my first versions. So I brought this one to Sacred Sheep, and I got a lot of compliments on it, which was really fun. But as I was wearing it, I just really didn't love how these straps kind of roll in. So I tested out a theory for this one, and they're very flat, which is really nice. And they like stay really secure on your shoulder because they're so flat. And they don't stretch out. And yeah, I'm really happy with this one. And for this version, I also did a little green pocket on the inside too. So it's pretty much the same as the outside on the inside. And I'm really happy to give this to my best friend for Christmas. So I think it turned out really cute. I will be updating the pattern a little bit too to add some instructions for how to do contrast pocket, like pocket that doesn't match your base color, which was like the original vision, because you can kind of see the base color poking through here, which isn't that big of a deal, but I think that maybe that could be a little bit cleaner. So might try it out how to do that again on another bag, but I don't think it's like that big of a deal. I'm just a perfectionist with this kind of thing. But yeah, I really am happy with this one for her. And then my most recent one that I did is this one. And all of these, by the way, are Cascade 220. A lot of them are Cascade 220 Grande, and this was the first one that I tested with Cascade 220 just held double. So this orange color and this tan color, which I think is called Camel. Can't remember what this orange one is called, but I'll put it on the screen. And this is another garbanzo. It's my most recent finished object, and I love it. I'm so happy with how it came out. I love this color combination. I'm in kind of like an orange phase right now. And this one, I'll show you the inside, because I did a big pocket. So this one has a big pocket, and I knit the big pocket in Lion's brand Fisherman's Wool held double in this gray color, and basically just picked up stitches along the bottom, knit a panel, seamed it, and now I have this big pocket, which will be a really nice little divider in a big bag. So like I said, this is their garbanzo size, but this one I did change the pattern like cast on amount, which changed the size a little bit, but I think for the final pattern, the garbanzo size will match this width. I don't know if you'll even be able to tell a difference on camera, but there's a few stitch difference, but I think the shape of it, this one being a little bit wider, I like better. So, but obviously, you know, it's really hard, I think, to mess these up. Like whatever color combinations I think will look good whatever pockets will look good, and whatever size it ends up being, I think will look good. But I'm really excited. I'm going to use this today, and I'm pumped about it. And then I have two of the like lentil size ones. So this was my first prototype for the lentil, which would be like the little back charm sized one. This one I knit with this blue yarn, which was secondhand, that I thought was 100% wool, but I don't think that it is, or if it is, I think it has a different felt rate than the Cascade 220 Grande. And you can kind of see the shape and size is like a little bit wonky. The straps are a little bit of a weird length. So I modified that, and this is the final dimensions for the lentil size tote, and it's so freaking cute. Look at this. It's so cute. It's funny because I'm not necessarily like a bag charm person, like, or keychain person. I just feel like they get in the way. But I put this on my like normal bag today, not my tote, and I just thought it was really cute. And I want to play around with having a little zipper modification here that may or may not be in the final pattern. We'll see. But I think that this one is perfect. And I think I just have like chapstick in here right now. But I designed the size and shape of this to fit AirPods perfectly. So that's that. And those are all my totes. I have lots of tote. And I'm just like really, really happy and like proud of myself, and I've been working really hard on those, and I'm just like excited to see other people like finishing theirs and using theirs, and I have a lot of really great testers who are making progress. My goal would be to release this pattern on my birthday, which is December 22nd, but we'll see. I know this is a really busy time of year, so I'm not like, I don't want to add pressure to my testers. So whenever it comes out, it comes out, and I'll let you know as well. Or follow me on Instagram at knitalee if you want to stay up to date on when the pattern is released officially. But that's that. And now we'll go into some sweaters. I think all my sweaters are whips right now. So we'll just talk about the furthest along one. This is the Eva Cardigan by PetiteKnit, and this is knit in Fiber MacGyver's Shaniko DK in the color Emerald, and it's like a really nice wool. I loved working with this yarn. It's yarn that I pre-ordered when I went to Flock, and this one is a gift knit for my mom. So my mom's a teacher, and her school color is like the shade of green, and she wanted a sweater that was kind of like a school spirit sweater. So she picked out this pattern, and it was really fun. It was really fun to knit. I really liked the 2x2 rib details on this. It feels a little bit like chunky and nice. And then I also got some buttons on Etsy that came, and so they're just like these little brown wooden buttons, and I think that they'll look nice together. So yeah, this was kind of a joy to knit up. It's an interesting construction that I haven't done before. I don't really know what it's called. Maybe it's like, I honestly don't know what it's called. So, editing, Natalie, if you know, let everyone else know. But I'm really happy with it. This yarn is not super duper consistent with the like colors of it. So, what I ended up doing instead of doing where you alternate every row, a new ball of yarn, I just did it where when I was close to the end of the ball of yarn, I alternated. So you can kind of see this, there's a stripe here. I don't know if you can actually see this, but it's a little bit more yellow. And so I faded it in, and I think it looks fine. I think ideally it would have been better to like rotate every round, but who has the patience for that? So I just did it like when I transitioned between the balls. And I think it's nice because my mom wanted a little bit of variegation, and you get that from the different, slightly variated colors in the yarn itself, but I have, I think, 2 balls or 2 skeins left of this yarn. I ordered extra for, you know, just to make sure that I had enough for my mom's thing, and then also because this is just like a really fun color. And so if anyone knows or has any suggestions for 2 skein of DK weight yarn, let me know. I'm like debating doing the Scoody with it, or a beanie, or maybe I could use it as some color work or something. But yeah, I already have a beanie in this color that I got off Depop, I think, a long time ago. So I don't know if I need another beanie, but yeah, have that one. And then the other gift knit that I have, oh, that one too. I haven't blocked it yet. I have to block it and do the buttons, and then it's done. This one is the little cardigan that I knit for my grandma. Okay, so this is Knitting for Olive Merino and Eucalyptus, held with the Knitting for Olive compatible cashmere in the color Dusty Aqua. And it created this like slightly marled gray, bluey, greeny color. And it wouldn't necessarily be a color that I would want for myself, I don't think. But my grandma loves it. Like, this is her favorite color, basically. And so I think it turned out perfect for her. And this one I did block because I was unsure if the length was right for her. And I brought this when I went home a few weeks ago, and she tried it on and she loves the length of it. I think it is a little bit more cropped than she initially envisioned, but she likes it, so we'll just keep it like that. And all I have left to do for this is the button band and get buttons for it, because I haven't picked out buttons yet and I'm not entirely sure what buttons to go with. I feel like I could just do little wood ones like my mom's, or maybe just like white or something, but I haven't really decided. I actually did the whole button band when I was home, but I didn't have a small enough needle, I think, and so it just like didn't look right because it wasn't small enough. And so I ripped out the button band that I did, and I just haven't done the new one. But that's on the list. It'll be quick. It'll be like a day, I think, or less, to do the button band on this, and then to weave in all the ends. But that's this gift knit. And then I think this is the last whip. So we're on the home stretch. And this is a tangled mess right now, so that's fun. This is the whip sweater, the big whip, I guess, for myself. This is the Harriet sweater. This was also something that I mentioned in my like planning my fall plans video as something that I maybe wanted to knit. And I have had this as a whip for a while now, and I like was maybe gonna frog it, and then I picked it back up and like did like another piece of the color work chart. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have mixed feelings about it. So let's just talk about it. So this is the Harriet sweater. I am knitting mine in Cascade 220 in the color Sparrow, and holding that with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the color Hazel. So that's this base color. And then this lime green color is the Sandnes Garn Double Sunday in the color Lime Punch. And then it's held with Serial Knitter's Phantom Lace in the color Lemonade. If you know the Harriet sweater, you might be thinking, hey, that's the Harriet sweater is a DK weight. Why are you holding a DK weight with a lace weight and creating a worsted weight for this sweater? And to that, I would like to show my history of never following a pattern completely right. Really, the big thing for this and why I am knitting this is because, like I said earlier, I got a bunch of Double Sunday in this Lime Punch color, and I think this color is really fun, but I don't love the Double Sunday. I know that it's like a favorite out there, but I'm not like the biggest fan of the spiral and the way that it looks, and I knit like a whole bunch of swatches to try to get the like cables right for the like what I originally had planned for this, and then ultimately was like I'll just put it in the color work of a sweater. And I found that I liked it better when I held it with a mohair. So I thought that I could hold it with a mohair for color work in this sweater. And then I decided to get, a base color and hold that with a mohair as well so that they're a similar gauge. I spent a long time trying to figure out, what kind of color sweater I would like and what colors would look good with this. And I mocked up a whole bunch of versions. I mocked up like browns and greens and grays and creams and like, tried to envision, something that I would actually like to wear. I think the hard thing was I just knit this sweater and this is brown and gray, and I felt like this would look best with like a brown or a gray. So this color is kind of similar to the gray in this sweater that I'm wearing right now, but it has a little bit more of a greeny undertone to it. And I kind of have this like underlying goal of replacing my crew neck sweatshirts with sweaters. I don't think that I'll ever replace them completely, and I'm gonna keep my crew neck sweatshirts. I wear them every single day. But I have a camo crew neck sweatshirt that I've been wearing a ton recently, and I feel like this would be the sweater that would replace the camo sweater. So it has, kind of like this like visual interest of the motifs on it. The colors are kind of these like grays and greens and like, the kind of like foresty real camo. And so that's kind of my goal with this one. And like I said, I am knitting it off gauge. So I'm actually knitting the size, or the second smallest size. I don't know, maybe that's extra small. Maybe it's extra, extra small, and then there's extra small. To hopefully meet the size of a large or an extra large. So I'm hoping that this will be pretty oversized. I don't want to like completely hold it up and block my microphone, but yeah, I think the color combination is fun, but there's something that's not quite right. But I think I'll wear it a ton too, because I feel like I've been wearing this like greeny gray color a lot recently. So that's that one. We'll be making progress on it slowly, I think. I'm not like in a rush to have it. Okay, next up are some acquisitions. I have some yarn acquisitions and then like some like other things acquisitions. I got like a bunch of yarn to knit some more samples of the Legume Tote, some of which was that orange and camel color. I also got this cobalt blue color, which I haven't really decided what color I want to pair it with and what size I'd want to make with this. I think right now I'm leaning towards making another of the like little micro-sized ones with a cream, because I think that would be a nice little pairing, and I think that would look really cute hanging off of this one for pictures. And so I have this color. I also got this color. I can't remember the name of it, and I don't want to pull out the panel because originally I was going to hold these together, and this is kind of like a cream color, but it has like a yellow undertone to it. And I thought those would look nice, but now I think I want a more like basic natural cream color, because ultimately my plan is to do this. So this is Cascade 220. I don't think this shows the color names, but it's like the light yellow color. And so I think with this like creamy yellow, it'll be a low contrast version of the tote. And I can't decide if I want to knit another garbanzo size tote or the pinto size. But either way, I think this will be a really fun, like neutral, low contrast version of the tote. And I'm really excited about this one. So that's some yarn. I have some more yarn that I got recently. I have a lot more yarn since then, but I'm just going to show you the highlights. So we have some of the yarn that I got from Sandnes Sacred Sheep. So this one is for my friend. It is Tumalo Fibers Rooted DK, which is 70% organic cotton and 30% linen. And this color is called Downpour, and it's just like this bluish color. And my best friend, she's crocheting a temperature blanket this year, and she like had a list of colors that she maybe needed more like cotton or linen yarn for, and so I picked up this for her. So I'll be putting this in that like purpley brown and green tote for her for Christmas present. And then I got that orange yarn for the beanie that I knit, and I got this from Ritual Dyes, which is Ritual Dyes Maven, which is a 2-ply fingering weight, 100% Rambouillet wool in the color Lamb's Ear. I got 5 of these. And this was my panic purchase at Sacred Sheep, which I don't think in the future I'll be doing panic purchase. Keep in mind, this is my, I guess we're in my 2nd year of knitting now, and it was my 2nd fiber festival. And so I'm still learning, a lot. But I picked up 5 of these because I thought originally that I was going to frog my Harriet sweater and do a marled sweater, like holding these together. But ultimately, after knitting a swatch of that, I didn't love it. But my vision was to do a marled sweater with the paracord hem. So I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do for that yet, but now I have 5 of these. But I messaged Ritual Dyes, and I think I can return the ones that I haven't wound up yet, so I might do that. Unless, someone wants to buy them from me, but I don't know, it's fingering weight yarn. Who out there wants fingering weight yarn? Okay, and then some sock yarn that I got. So these are the other colors that I got in the Polka Dot Sheep Yarn Ski Town Sport Weight. So I got Beartooth, which is the brown, which is the same brown that I'm using for my skitty right now, and the same brown color that I used for my Blomstra beanie. So we'll be some brown socks. I also got this one, which is called Buttercream, which is like the baby yellow. And this one, which is called Slate. And it's like this blue color. So, yeah. These are these. Yeah, I haven't fully decided what, if they're all going to be socks. They probably will. I'm happy to have, a little stash of sock yarn that I really love. Because socks are such an easy in-between projects thing for me to gravitate towards, and I had a bunch of the Jawoll for that, but I think I prefer this yarn over that yarn. I think I'll still use it and marl some socks together, but I'm really, really happy about these, and I'm happy to have these in stash. I'm not the type of person that will ever have sweater quantity of yarns in stash. I change my mind so frequently, and even my mid whip, I might frog this Harriet, I might not. Who knows? But could you imagine if I had several sweater quantities of yarn, and then I just there's a new color that I like, and I don't like any of the colors of yarn that I have anymore? It just doesn't seem feasible to have plans so far ahead when my ideas change so frequently. But for socks, I don't have that vision. It's just I want something on my sock needles pretty much at all times. So happy to have those. I also got this sock yarn, which is the Patton's Croy socks. And I think the color is muslin. So it's the same color that I have for the toe of my Waffle Socks. And I'm debating doing stripes, a low contrast yellow and cream stripes, which will match the tote bag that I end up making. Or I don't know, it'll be just nice to have cream soft yarn. And then I also pick up this mini, so this is Serial Knitters Scug Super Sock in the color Margarita. I went through a phase of really liking this pastel limey color, and it was so funny when I like went to the yarn store because I was trying to find something to like hold with the double Sunday so that I would like it better. And my like purchase was like this and like a whole bunch of like these kinds of shades of greens, which I think is really funny. Like my purchase was all of these colors, but I think this will be really cute for a toe and heel situation. And yeah, I just think this color is really nice. And I think that's all of the yarn that I got. I did get some knitting type supplies though that I want to talk about. The first thing is I got the Sula mini like case. If you're like a potter, maybe you've seen this brand. I'm sure a lot of crafters out there have seen this brand, but I actually saw this brand first in the pottery store near me. They have like these like bigger bags for all your pottery tools to keep that organized, and I almost got one of those for pottery, but I just like didn't end up needing one, I think, because I have like a plastic one that's easier to clean, I think. Well, these are easy to clean too because you can throw them in the wash, but I ended up getting this one, which is one that they just released. I can't remember the color name, but it's like this olive green color, and I decided to use it to house all my interchangeable needles instead of the Chiagu ugly case. And it does work for that. You just have to like keep a bunch of the needles in the same like little pouch so that they don't fall out, because it's not super duper secure, but I'm not like throwing this around. I like barely go any places with it, so I think it's fine just to have those together. And I keep my like little notebook in here and all my cables, and there's a bunch of pockets, and I really like it. I really like having something cuter to look at than that like ugly Chiagu interchangeable case set. So love this. I also got some like techie things. I got like a kitchen scale. So I got this one, I think off Amazon, but it's just like orange, and it's been really helpful for measuring how much yarn I use for the totes, since I'm like writing that pattern, and it'll just be like nice to know exactly. And also I think just in general nice to know, like, if you want to knit half of a ball of yarn for something so that you can save the other half for the other part or whatever, it's just feasible with that. And then my favorite thing that I've purchased, I think all year, honestly, and maybe some of you will find this ridiculous, but I got the like Casio calculator. I went to Target a few weeks ago, and we just stumbled upon this in store, and I immediately was like, yes. I use my phone calculator so much, especially for knitting and like tracking things and whatever, that it's just like it's so nice to have like a little physical button clicker version of that. I think that we've lost this kind of thing in our everyday interactions with technology that I miss a lot, and I love it. I think it's really, really cute. And yeah, just imagine me clickety clacketing on my calculator all day long, because I will. Oh, the last thing I guess that we'll end with is this is my only finished pottery thing in the past few months. I haven't been going to pottery like at all, and yeah, so this is just something that I like finished the most recently. But it's this little like wavy cup mug thing. I've been using it as a mug, and I love how this turned out. I didn't take any notes on the glazes that I used in studio, but it's just like it's so beautiful. It's like white and cream and yellow and like such green, and like the inside is super drippy, and it's just beautiful. So I'm really happy with this one, and I've been using it a ton, pretty much any time that it's out of the dishwasher. So I need to get back into pottery. It's just like hard for me having a puppy that has separation anxiety, and I'm trying to like work on my like social life, and going to pottery is more of a solo activity. So yeah, but I think that's about all I have, and it was a lot, obviously, and I'm hoping that I'll do the next podcast like in a month or something, and you know, it won't be as overwhelming, and I can dive a little bit more into details on things. But yeah, I've been knitting a lot recently, and I've been working hard on the totes, and I don't really know what else to say. It's just like knitting has become such a huge part of my life, and been like such a positive like influence on me, and I hope the same for you. I hope you're enjoying your projects. I hope you're not afraid to fraud something if you're not. And yeah, I hope you have a really great holiday season, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.